That's better. Today we are going to be doing gym-based exercises, 15 of the best. A well-rounded workout split, 15 different exercises, total body, core, legs, upper body, a little bit of everything. Many healthcare workers are working 12+ hour days. A lot of nurses work 12-hour shifts. Squatting, lifting, bending, helping people to the bathroom, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Scrubs should definitely hold up performing basic body movement. Challenging to see if they can hold up for an hour workout, how can they hold up for an 8 to 12 hour plus work shift in healthcare? We are going to be doing a barbell back squat. That will be targeting our quads, our glutes, our hamstrings, our core, having to brace ourselves while loading. This might be considered the G king of lower body functional movements. I know that the hip thrust is definitely coming up in the ranks, but the squat is basically the king of lower body, total body exercise. Please whack. Much better.
I don't know why I left that light so freaking close. It's fine.
There are many different types of squats. You can obviously do bodyweight squats. A prisoner squat is when you put your hands behind your head. You're gonna keep yourself tight, core engaged. Why do you really need to know the difference between different types of squats other than wanting to diversify your squat technique, improve your form, etc.? Some types of squats are more powerful than others. Obviously, a split squat is not as strong as a standard feet planted, both feet working equally squat. Different forms will change the ability to perform strength, like when you're performing a squat in a Smith machine versus a power rack. In a Smith machine, you don't have to work on engaging your core and your total body as much as you do in a Smith machine. Smith machine, you just focus on pushing the weight. Sumo squat, typically feet a little wider than the shoulders, externally rotated a bit, 45 degrees, give or take. You're gonna keep your chest up and lifted. Bend your knees and lower your hips straight down. A little bit tight. Going as low as you can while not losing the proper form in the right places, trying to keep your chest up, your core engaged, making sure your knees aren't going all over the place. Press through your heels, maintain a little bit of knee bend, not locking out, especially if you're loading with weight. Don't hyperextend as you come up, just come up to the top, squeeze, engage the glutes. Again, pushing through your heels, squeeze the glutes. Nice soft bend in the knees at the top. We're also gonna be performing a deadlift. This is one of my favorite exercises. I actually prefer to do deadlifts early in my workout, one, because it's a heavy compound movement that can really exhaust the body. It is a very functional exercise. We pick things up all the time, but you want to be very attentive to your form. You do not want the movement coming from your back. You want the hinge to be taking place at your hips. This is not a Jefferson curl where you're working on segmentally rounding out in your back. You're actually isolating the movement as best as possible at your hips without loading and rounding the spine in a way that's detrimental, unless you're trained to do so. Like some strongmen, that's what they have to do to be loading awkward and incredibly heavy objects. I'm definitely a strongman fan, but deadlifts are functional for many types of movement patterns. For me, I think that they're a really good way to open up my legs, my hips, my glutes before I start movement. So it's a very good lightweight exercise starter. We're gonna keep our core engaged. Again, remember to have the movement coming from here and not from your back. Making sure that you're locking out with your glutes and not hyperextending. When you can no longer keep the movement from your hip, and don't round out the back, but once you get to that point is when you start to drop. Making sure that your spine is neutral. Do not overextend in the spine and do not flex to engage extra range of motion in the forward direction. Movement comes from the hip. Straight leg deadlift versus a more traditional deadlift, but keeping our legs mostly straight. But before any movement comes from our back, we'll start to drop more at the knees, engaging more of our quads to complete the movement, making sure we're not cheating to get the range. Functionally and body mechanics standpoint wise, if your deadlift form is on point and you're really good at it, that carrying over to other parts of your life is beneficial for everybody, in my opinion. And I actually think Dr. Peter Attia talks about this, and he does specialize in medicine 3.0, injury prevention, health decline prevention. But deadlifts are functional for many types of movement patterns. For me, I think that they're a really good way to open up my legs, my hips, my glutes before I start movements. It's a very good lightweight exercise starter. We're going to be doing a bench press, targeting our chest, our tricep, and our bicep, basically mainly an upper body movement. Kind of fun. I think a lot of women avoid the bench press, but it is a fun movement, and it is also very good for your posture, for functional strength, being able to push and pull heavy weight. Excellent for your chest, bicep, shoulders. If the squat is the king of lower body functional strength training, then the bench press is definitely the king of upper body functional strength training. As a woman, because I typically don't enjoy training upper body as much as I enjoy training lower body, I'll call it the queen of strength training, the queen of strengthening exercises. Ironically, that's kind of funny because men are more likely to do bench press. Another really good exercise to do is pull-ups. If you can't do pull-ups, you can do lat pull down. If you're at a gym, you can do assisted pull-ups, or the machine pull down is fine as well. Very good functional exercise for your back, for your posture, especially for your lats, your upper back, your biceps, and your shoulders. So men and women seem to be really desiring the ability to do a pull-up, and I don't blame anybody that wants to do that. We're gonna be working on an overhead press, either with a barbell or dumbbells or a band. A bent over row. Also, you can do this with the barbell, with dumbbells or bands. You can do this with a host of different options. If you're home and you have no gym equipment whatsoever, you can use milk jugs, you can use suitcases. You can use whatever you want to be able to perform the same movement, just focusing on the same cues that you would focus on if you're doing this with a dumbbell or barbells, etc. Bulgarian split squats, because everyone wants to die doing Bulgarian split squats. These are a very good unilateral movement that target your hamstrings, quads, glutes, and also work on your physical balance, being able to hold your body up, but also balancing out any muscle discrepancies you have from one side to the other. Incorporating unilateral exercises is really beneficial if you have any muscular imbalances. Anytime you're doing a barbell instead of dumbbells, if you have muscular imbalances, you're much more likely to tend to continue to feed into those imbalances versus isolating them by doing one side at a time. If thrust needs a spot, you never know when you're going to need to hump the air at work. Probably not going to need to do that. I'll try to think of a time you need to do that. But you do need to have strong glutes, because that's going to be good in your endurance throughout the day, not having back pain, joint pain, hip pain, etc. Hip thrusts are the checkmate of functional strength training for men and women, especially for our posterior chain, glute hypertrophy, improving all things posterior strength, and also good for our biomechanics and our postural stability overall. If you want to work on muscle imbalances, all of these you could do unilateral. You can even do a B stance hip thrust where you alternate the placement of your feet in the event that you want to isolate one side over the other. We're going to try to do a plank. Planks used to be a strength and they are a weakness of mine. We're going to try to do a plank. I'll be sweating my britches off, I'm sure. Some form of a farmer's carry. You can do a farmer's carry loaded walk. Maybe I'll try to do it on the treadmill. Very good for our grip strength, our core, our stability. I don't want to say traps necessarily, but farmer's carry are good for our grip, our core, training imbalances, helping work our stabilizers, our muscular stabilizers, our core stabilizers. This is definitely an underrated total body strengthening exercise or activity. You can make it really fun too. Cable face pulls, and I want to dive into this topic a little bit later on different hand placements and how that affects which muscles you're incorporating when you're doing a face pull. How wide is your grip? How narrow is your grip? Where directly to your face are you pulling? Are you pulling right above? Are you pulling right below, etc.? But today we're just going to be performing a face pull. We're not going to get into all the details, but that will be for another day. Of course, we need to incorporate a push-up. Very fun. If you cannot do a full push-up, you can obviously do one modified on your knees or with a resistance band to help you get up if you can't complete the exercise. I'll show you an assisted push-up in case you can't do a push-up. I'm just gonna put it like this. Don't choke yourself. And then as you go to do the push-up, the band's gonna help you come back up. Now, if you're gonna do against resistance instead of adding help, you're adding difficulty. You're gonna wanna actually put the band this way, and then make sure it's coming above your arm like so. That way, I'm working against the resistance of the band. Incorporating our abs with a hanging leg crunch. And finally, a row. We're gonna try to do a seated row or some version of a seated row. Scrubs are holding up pretty good. They're not all tucked in like they were. I don't know what that is. Sweat or water, maybe from my just drink of water. Sweats look great. My home gym and me have fallen apart. It's all right. Thanks for taking the time to join me in this home workout via scrubs. Now we know. Love you. Bye-bye. Scrubs held up pretty well. Me, not so much.